In March 2024, we started having reports of an unusual disease in dairy cattle in the southwestern part of the United States. Then we found out that the highly pathogenic avian influenza, or the bird flu virus, had actually spilled over into our dairy cattle population. Somewhere around 166 million commercial poultry have been impacted by this disease. And up until about a year ago, we didn't have to worry about this in dairy cattle because they weren't known to have influenza A. If anybody's purchased eggs in the last year, they probably have realized that the price of some of our poultry products have increased, and that's because this disease, highly pathogenic avian influenza, is really devastating to the poultry industry. When this shifted over to the D1.1 genotype, that I think made a lot of people more nervous because there has been some hospitalizations and even one death that's potentially partially attributable to the D1.1 genotype of the influenza A virus. And that was the predominant strain that had been circulating in the migratory wild birds that had infected a lot of commercial poultry in the Midwest and eastern part of the US over the course of the winter. In Colorado, on this dairy and other dairies, we were given access to about 20 cows that had clinical disease and 10 cows that didn't have clinical disease, and we sampled those twice a week in the milk to look for the virus, and then we also looked in urine, nasal swabs, and serum. By the time we started seeing clinical signs in the herd, so cows that were ill, the disease was already present in at least half of the milking pens on the farm. And then what we found is that yes, there was virus in the milk, which there have been pasteurization studies that show that pasteurization does kill the virus, so there is no threat to human health from consuming pasteurized milk. But I think that this research is going to show us how transmission is occurring on the farm. Are the cows on a commercial dairy, are they all exposed primarily through aerosol? How many of those cows are exposed through the parlor and the milking process? I think we're all kind of holding our breath a little bit and seeing what happens to this disease in cattle. Influenza A viruses are the ones that are most likely to result in a human pandemic and have been involved in previous pandemics, and I think there's a lot of people nervous about what's going to happen with this virus in a new host and in animals that we're constantly in contact with.